Hey everyone, Dimitri here, Pornography Addiction Recovery Coach. And today I wanted to make a video on the story of a client and how he has healed in quite an unexpected way, in a quite a sudden way, and how healing can arrive in ways that we don't really see coming. And I'm really hungry, guys. I'm fasting. I'm fasting today. I'm eating only once every 24 hours, and I'm really hungry. But it's a really cool story. So how do I go about that? We started working on his pornography addiction. He wants to remain anonymous, so I'm not going to share his name, but it's okay to share his story. And he was complaining that he was using pornography to go to sleep. He'd been doing this for 20 years or 25 years or a long time, and that he was suffering from anxiety before he goes to sleep. And so we covered that, we discussed that, we found ways for him to go to sleep in a way that is more soothing and calming. In the process also we discussed his background with his family. There was a lot of past hurt from a brother who'd been really insistent upon being a dick with him, and some family stuff, father wound, mother wound. And so we discussed that, but also we reprocessed that. Like, there's only so much you can do in talking, but what's interesting when you go into trauma or family patterns, or there's a pattern you want to change in your life, is just to reprocess it. It's just to go back in the memory and relive the memory and change it in a way that makes sense, in a way that you can say the things that you wanted to say, in a way that you can take this positioning that you were not able to take at the time. And that allows the brain to turn the page and move on. And so we did a few of these reprocessings, and it had a powerful effect. And every time it had a powerful emotional release, like a strong cathartic release. But there was no really healing that was coming out of it. It was just like, wow, a powerful realization that, shit, this was intense. Whatever happened then was crazy, and crying and a lot of things. But no real healing per se. And then he was in a relationship as well. It was in a relationship that was not open. It was satisfied, but not fully satisfied. And at some point, the relationship ended. And at some point also, we came to do a reprocessing where he realized that he had to be more grateful about what he had in his life, which is a fairly common realization. I should be grateful for what I have. But when you go through these reprocessings, that's not like an idea that pops in your mind. It's like you live that experience of like, fuck, I should really be more grateful of what I have in my life. And also from the beginning of the work we did together, he was reporting this feeling of being dissatisfied, of being misaligned, of not being able to be himself, etc., etc. And the more we dived into that, the more we realized that he had never been able to express fully himself in bed. That there's always these desires that were repressed, that were suppressed, that was never really okay. And even we did a reprocessing on him in bed, being sanctioned emotionally because he wanted something that wasn't accepted. And eventually he decided to embrace his sexuality 100%. He came to the realization that he was hypersexual and that he needed to honor that hypersexuality. That pornography was just a way for him a proxy for him to live his hypersexuality, but that he hadn't done it. And so he started exploring avenues where he could connect with sex-positive people and hypersexual people who were open sexually to explore the fantasies that he had in mind that he'd never explored. And before he even had any experience, just the fact that he got accepted in that community and that there was a ground for discussion around what's possible and what's not was a total relief for him. And for him, that was the healing, was that it's okay to be hypersexual, to have these fantasies, and to be still accepted and loved, and encouraged even to live these fantasies. And for him, that was it. Before he even went out and did anything with anyone, which he did later on, that was the healing. And then he reported to me like, on that day, I have not watched pornography a single day. I don't care about pornography because I can fulfill my sex life and be happy by fulfilling my sex life. And that's what I'm going to do right now. I'm going to honor myself in this process. Pornography is just a 10% version of what I can get in real life. And I can finally be accepted. And as he said that, he fell into tears because for the first time he felt aligned. He felt that he could be who he was and he could step in his power and be himself and not have a mask of over-adapt to what people wanted. It was about him and his desires and what he wanted to happen. And so then he healed. And then that was around 10-week mark. And then he stopped pornography on that day. And then he stopped ever again. And he never watched pornography ever again. And all he's been busy in doing since then is just to connect with people who are sex positive and share his fantasies and implement these fantasies. And so this goes to show that sometimes we're not so much addicted to pornography than to a fantasy itself. And for, I would say, 19% of the people I coach, that is the case. We're addicted, and it was the case for me too. We're addicted to a fantasy, and we can not fulfill that fantasy. I mean, we can always fulfill that fantasy, but the part of us believes that we cannot fulfill that fantasy, that it's not okay, that it's a taboo, etc. And so we deprive ourselves from being ourselves, and we shame ourselves for the fantasies we have and the thoughts we have, and we decide that pornography is the only way to go. But it's not. It's always a matter of finding the right people, being open, being cautious in the way we approach these masses. Make sure we don't come in a place of, slamming our desires into people's face, but creating a dialogue. And if there's mutual appreciation, mutual desire, mutual understanding, then this can be implemented. So I just wanted to share that story with you, how pornography addiction doesn't take years to heal. It's just healing the wounds that we have in the back of our mind, progressively moving away from pornography, not from the get-go, but in small doses, moving away from the things that feed these traumas that we have or these patterns that we have. And it's pretty easy. It is pretty easy. Healing from pornography addiction is pretty easy. It is not complex. It is deep. We have to go deep into the mind and really connect, and there's certain practices we need to do that. But it's not complex. It's not like a whole complicated picture. It is very simple, diving into the trauma, the whatever thing that pushes us to pornography that makes us feel that we're not okay, and heal that from the inside. And then once we heal the trauma, the emotion, we can heal the behavior. So that's my message for you today, guys. Either allowing ourselves to fulfill our fantasies in a way that's meaningful for us, or diving into the trauma and healing the trauma from the inside while moving from pornography little by little in a way that's manageable. Let us know if that strikes something in you, if that makes sense. If it's counterintuitive, maybe it's challenging to understand. Maybe this is not what we want to happen. So let us know. And I have healed, my clients have healed, you will heal too. So if you would like to know more about this process I'm describing, I'm attaching below a link to the Masterclass I have created that explains all these processes that I'm talking about now, all the theory behind the example I'm giving today, and that's it. That's my story. Welcome to Watch the Masterclass. If you have any comments or questions, please post them in the comments, and it'll be my pleasure to reply to you. Have a great day, and have a happy journey of healing.